Shabbat Shalom and welcome to our Shabbat morning service. I see that there's a number of you who are out there who are joining us this morning for our services on YouTube and on Facebook. And so it's good to have you with us. As we always do, it's nice to take a moment to let us know that you're here, each other know that we're here, and be a part of the community. And so if you want in the chat, feel free to make a little post there. Let us know who you are, who's watching, wish somebody a Shabbat Shalom. And we'll join together for our Shabbat services. As we do that, for anybody that would like to follow along in our prayer book this morning, it's on our YouTube page under the resources section, and you'll be able to join us there and find the prayer book and follow along with it with the page numbers that we'll call out, as well as some of the other opportunities that we'll talk about too in a little bit. So if you are somebody that is wearing a talit this morning, would like to join us in the blessing for wearing that garment of our responsibility, we invite you to place it on now. And we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hitatef b'tzitzit. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with commandments and commands us to wear the garments of our responsibility. As we see that, we join together on page 56 of our prayer books as we read, Elu Devarim She'ein Lahem Shior. These are the obligations in life which have no bounds. They are the responsibilities in which we must participate if we are to enjoy the fruits of this world and any world to come. Performing acts of love and kindness, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, welcoming guests, visiting the sick, celebrating with the wedding couple, honoring our parents, consoling the bereaved, being devoted to prayer, achieving peace where there is strife. But the study of Torah is equal to them all because it leads to them all. With that, we continue with our call to worship with the words of the Baruch Hu, I think on page 65 of our prayer books.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or u'borei choshech, Oseh shalom u'borei et hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or u'borei choshech, Oseh shalom u'borei et hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer hameorot. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto
be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
You shall love eternally your God with all your hearts, with all your soul, and with all your might. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol before your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I, the Eternal, am your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I, the Eternal, am your God. These enduring words have been a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path.
Faith and choice bring understanding to the soul and sensitivity to the heart.
In all times and places, our God has been a part of our lives.
Our faith has been our rock and our help.
We watched God's wonders when we went free from Egypt.
When slavery's chains were broken, we witnessed it.
May those who have the faith to believe also have the wisdom to be kind.
O God, in whom we have all hope, we glorify your name now as our people have praised you throughout history.
מי כמוך האלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוספנה, נורא תהילות אוספנה. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדי חינומך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
And in preparation for the Amidah, we rise together and take a moment for our own private meditations, either following the words of our prayer book on page 70 or those our hearts might prompt.
tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, v'Elohei Rachel. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
We sanctify your name on earth, even as your holiness is proclaimed in the heavens above and throughout time and space. In the words of the prophet Isaiah, we say, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The fullness of the whole earth is God's glory.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech ol haaretz, Kavodo, Baruch Kavod Adonai, Mimakomo, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Zion, לדור ודור, hallelujah.
To all generations, we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed is Adonai, the holy God. Please be seated. Our God and God of our ancestors, accept our rest as a sacrifice of time and space. Let us share in your world by celebrating creation day by day. Purify our hearts so that we might be honest and upright, forgiving and compassionate. Blessed are you, O God of truth, who helps us to make the Sabbath a part of our life and our heritage of joy. Look with favor, O God, upon your people Israel and receive our prayers with love. May it be your will to accept our worship and our deeds. Blessed are you who alone we serve in reverence. Eternal source of good, we thank you for the numberless gifts and blessings that fill our days, for life itself and its endless variety, for all that sustains body and mind, for love and friendship, for the delights of the senses, and for the excellence of your Torah, which deepens our life and enriches our days. Help us, O God, to work for a just and compassionate society, where all may share your gifts in the joy of freedom. For all of this, your name shall be blessed and praised forever.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שביעי שבת, כולם יספרו ויתן גם טובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה למעשה בראשית שבת, זכר למעשה למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת.
We continue on page 77 with our prayers for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country that it may always be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all lands. And may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Blessed is the eternal God, the source of peace.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la. Oh, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha.
So it's time for us to read a little Torah as we turn our prayer books to the service for reading Torah. And we begin in the book of Leviticus, starting a new book this week. And the very first chapter of Leviticus 1 and the first verses as well. And what's unique about this, of course, the entire book of Leviticus is filled with laws about the korbanot, about the sacrifices that we have to make. And but there's something unique about that first word, vayikra. If we see the word, and we'll see in a moment, actually, maybe I'll put it up on our screen right now. We see the word, you can see the aleph, the last letter of Vayikra, and in Torah font, in the actual Torah, is a teeny aleph, a very small aleph. And of course, there's no description of why that is. We just know in every single Torah, the word Vayikra is written different than other times with that aleph being so small. And the question is, why is it? Here we have all these laws about sacrifice, about the sins that will be committed and the sacrifices that have to be made, a sacrifice of sin offering, a guilt offering, things like that that are later in the Torah portion. And what I love that's so important in our tradition, it doesn't say if a sin is committed, it says when a sin is committed. And the idea is that we make mistakes. It happens. And because of that, we have to understand the consequences so that we can better ourselves and learn from the mistake and move forward. And part of the mistakes we make often is because of the lack of modesty and the importance of that in our lives. Vayikra, and God called to Moses, is that testament about the importance of modesty. Aleph is the very first letter in the Hebrew alphabet. And so there's a story the rabbis tell, Aleph being so proud and so boastful. I'm the most important letter. I'm the very first one. I started off. That's why God began Torah with a bet, Bereshit. The first letter of the Torah is not the Aleph. But second, just to reinforce the message of humility, of modesty, the Aleph is made a little bit smaller. And to hear, to be able to listen, we have to retract, we have to make ourselves smaller to let people come into our space, to open ourselves up, to recognize the mistakes we make at times in order to be able to grow and become full, to become a full-size Aleph in a sense, and to become a complete person. A lot is packed into that one letter, that one word, and this entire Torah portion that seems at times not relevant for us as contemporary Jews about laws of sacrifice, but still, contained within there lots of things that are meaningful. Join with me, please, for the blessing of Torah. Baruch et Adonai Hamorach, Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu et Torato, Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayikra el Moshe, Vayedaber Adonai elav me'ohel moed lemor. Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amarta alehem Adam ki akriv mikem korban l'Adonai min habehema min habakar umin hatzon takrivu et korbanchem imola korbano min habakar Zachar tamim yakrivenu el petach ohel moed yakriv oto lirtzono lifnei Adonai v'samach yado al rosh ha'olam ונרצה לו לכפר עליו, ושחט את בן הבקר לפני אדוני, והקריבו בני אהרון הכהנים את הדם, וזרקו את הדם על המזבח סביב, אשר פתח אוהל מועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. In the midst of our prayers and the Torah in our midst, so do our thoughts turn to those in need of healing and strength. And we read names as well, and connecting ourselves with our community, our congregation, knowing of those we want to reach out to, connect with, and for them to know they're in our thoughts, our prayers, and our hearts. Mishaberach Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, ve'imotenu Sarav Kalei Rachel, Uyivrech at the Holy, merciful God who has blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Becca, Leah, and Rachel. Send your blessings to our loved ones who are stricken with illness and anxiety, especially friends and family of our congregation we think of at this time. Larry Burke and Grace Geraldine Carafelli, Karen Kasman, Margaret Kocha, Lindsay Cooper, Molly Cotent, Barbara Esrig, Barb Flair, Sandy Flair, Karen Garassi, Kathy Gilman, Joseph Goldring, Lola Goldring, Sandy Gorosh, Batya Peshapanina, Susan Greenberg, Charles Gross, Sherry Gutter, Susan Goralnik, Hank Heiser, Helen Indiana, Jane Jacobs, Bruce Kay, Ephraim Kessler, Paulette Coffrin, Serafina Coffrin, Marta Lazar, Henry Leopold, Charlene Lazelle, Josh Lubeck, Michael Malley, Zoe Marcus, Beth Margolin, Joyce Mazza, Perry Moss, Lori Moss, Scott Miles, Kate Negron, Rabbi Robert Nosenchuk, Razel Batlea Miriam, Hannah Molesky, Marjorie Pensine, Tamara Pesikoff, Melanie Pohl, James Raftery, Arthur Reish, Joanne Reed, Raymond Wright, Alan Rosen, the St. Amand family, the Shepperly family, Amy Selmanoff, Danny Shepard, Arnold Slutsky, Barbara Storm, Skyly Weingarten, Helene Wolf, as well as all those battling the coronavirus at home and in the hospital. The 53,117 American troops have been injured in Iraq and Afghanistan and surrounding areas to date. Those who were injured in Atlanta in this past week, of crimes of violence, of hatred against the Asian American and Pacific Islander community, as well as all the names in our hearts. Baruch Atar Narafel Chalim. Blessed are you, God, give strength to those in need.
Before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say
As we have done this past year, so do we add the prayer for the healers, linking ourselves with them, asking for strength upon them for the good work they continue to do. Eloheinu v'Elohei v'imotenu, may the one who's blessed our ancestors, plus all those who put themselves at risk to care for the sick, physicians, nurses, orderlies, technicians, and home health aides, EMTs and pharmacists, hospital social worker, respiratory therapists, who navigate unfolding dangers of the world each day, tending to those they've sworn to help. Bless them in their coming home and bless them in their going out. Ease their fear, sustain them. Bless the sacred work of their hands. May this plague pass from among us speedily and in our days, and let us say, Amen. We continue with our prayers of adoration and Kaddish. It's can be found on page 91 of our prayer books as we rise now together.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
The mystics teach us that the Kaddish has different meanings every time it's recited. In their minds, it's a prayer that links earth to heaven and bridges the chasm between the living and the dead. The Kaddish is the assurance the soul is enduring, the human spirit is indestructible. It's a prayer that permits a child to remember a parent and a parent to remember a child. It is an opportunity to bind wounds and bring generation closer to generation in light and in darkness. It's all of these and more, for it is our people's memory of the best that life has to offer. This time in our prayers, our thoughts turn to those taken from our midst in this past week and month. Hushkoshim, we mark friends and family of our congregation. Deborah Rose Campaign, Sanders Hertzberg, Sally Bailey, Al Cassell, Gary Fishman, Mona Rosenbaum, Irving Cohen, Francisco Leva, Ian Cascade, Edja Zakalik, Gloria Siegel Stoliar, Ilo Seidman, Daryl Bresick, Nisi Conroy, John Goldstein, Sam Tolchin, as well as those this past year, Fanny Zuckerman, linking their names to the 7,038 Americans of our armed forces who've been killed in Iraq, Afghanistan, and surrounding areas to date, as well as the 539,966 Americans who lost their lives to the coronavirus. And linking their names to the names of Zortites we mark on the Shabbat, those anniversary of passing we lovingly commemorate: Maxine Berman, Shirley Malik Bakoff, Gerald Brown, Florence Gitlin Camden, Joseph Camden, Lawrence Chadwick, Rosa Ernstine, Harry Fritzen, Rose Fritzen, Pamela Gottlieb, Morris Goralnik, Chaim Jacob, Ida Junker, George Krefman, Irving Lipton, Reverend Jim Lyons, James Mather, Reverend Lowell McCoy, Morris Meisner, Abraham Mintz, Gloria Merkin, Kenneth Monicati, Viola Bierman Rabin, Dorothy Reinheimer, Roger Robinson, Marvin Rosen, Lee Saperstein, Lillian Silverberg, Samuel Silverberg, Herbert Sott, Adolf Zucker, Jerry Warshawski, Elsie Celeste West, Ray Zukin. And linking their names, all the names that we do not recite on this Shabbat, those of every faith and family whose lives have touched ours, those who have no one to stand and say Kaddish for them. So do we join together in the immortal words of the mourner's Kaddish is found on page 96 of our prayer books, as well as on our screens, and join together as one congregation. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah Bi'alma divra chirate v'almich malchute v'chayachon uvyomechon uchayed v'chol beit Yisrael Bagala uvizman kariv imru Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mavarach alam amaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dukudisha b'rechu v'amin kol berachata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata Da'maram Mima Yimru. Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal Yisrael v'imru. Amen. The source of peace, and peace to those who mourn, comfort to those who are bereaved here and everywhere. And let us together say, Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Good
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Good Shabbos.
Can I say how nice it is to take this talis off and think of this is the 7th anniversary of the boys' B'nai Mitzvah Vayikra was their Torah portion. First time this talis was worn by Nathan, and when the pandemic started, I didn't have a talis at home, and I grabbed this one, and I love this talis now, and I wear it every week at home. So thanks, Nate.
That's nice.
Just want to point that out. I don't know. Hey, a lot of special things on the horizon at Temple, including our Seder next Sunday night, our congregational Seder that you can sign up for. It's a Zoom Seder, of course. Cooking class tomorrow at 3 p.m. from 12 to 4 p.m. A food drive that we're lucky to have the corner at Orchard Lake and Walnut Lake, where I don't know, is it 19 different organizations are supporting this food drive, and we become the collection source center there. And for the first 300 who donate food and show up in that time, a box of matzah is given to you to get you ready for the holiday too. So great way to begin our Pesach preparations, to remind ourselves of the challenges in our world, food insecurity that's real, and how we can make a difference. Monday night, another class with our speaker series on Doth a Jew not laugh? Merchant of Venice, and a Jewish view of that. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? As we look at Shylock and his the interpretations around his presentation by Shakespeare. And on what else is this week? I'm forgetting something.
A lot of great things.
A lot of great. I know I'm forgetting stuff, but just jump onto the website. You'll see all the things that are listed there that's happening, including an awesome day of sunshine for Shoresh tomorrow. Very excited for that.
With that, we raise our glass to sanctify this day of Shabbat and the time that we've had together as we join with Cantor.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine and the sweetness of moments like this. So we say, Adonai, Oz le'amo yitain. May God bless you with strength. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May God bless all of us here and everywhere with peace.
Adonai, Oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos.